Hi guys. All right. So sorry I'm late. Um, Tonight I'm going to be talking about. I did some research. In addition to things I've done over the several months, just learning what my rights are in general since 2016. But today I actually went in and I looked at the process and the procedures for for petitioning, both to the people and to an initiative to the people and an initiative to the legislature. There are different requirements for each. Um, I also looked into the legislative sessions to find out what deadlines would be, special sessions, and a little bit about the legislative process. Blah, I can't speak tonight. Sorry. So first we're going to be looking at how to um, file an initiative in general, just an initiative. So for that, and I'm gonna reference the specific articles so that you guys can look it up yourself. So that I want you guys to feel empowered, to feel educated, and so that you have the knowledge to also take action. So we're gonna look up Article 2, Section 1, subsections A through E of the Washington State Constitution. I'm going to be doing this on my big screen TV with my PlayStation. So, Article 2. Have to scroll through Article 1. And then we get Article 2. Well, it's not wanting to work. I am very sorry. Okay, so here it is. Article 2, I got it. Section 1, subsection A through E. All right, so the text at the beginning of Article 2, Section 1, it reads, the legislative authority of the state of Washington shall be vested in the legislature consisting of a Senate and House of Representatives, which shall be called the legislature of the state, but the people reserve to themselves the power to propose bills, laws, and enact or reject the same at the polls, independent of the legislature, and also reserve power at their own option to approve or reject at the polls any act, item, section, or part of any bill, act, or law passed by the legislature. That means all those neat little laws that they've been passing without sending them to a vote of the people. We can act on that. We can object to those as soon as they're passed. We don't have to just sit by. Hi, Michelle. Hi, John. We don't have to just sit by and allow them to pass those laws that so many of us are objecting to. We have a voice. We have that right. It states that we, the people, reserve the power. That's like a business saying, reserving the right to refuse service. Well, that business chooses not to serve somebody. We, the people, have the right to refuse a law or a bill or an act enacted by a legislature without our vote. All right. Subsection A, initiative. The first power reserved by the people is the initiative. Every such petition shall include the full text of the measure so proposed. In case of initiatives to the legislature and initiatives to the people, the number of ballot signatures of legal voters required shall be equal to 8% of the votes cast for the office of governor at the last gubernatorial election preceding the initial filing of the text of the initiative measure with the Secretary of State. So what does that mean for us? That as we're filing a petition to overturn or repeal 1639, that means that for us, we have to get 259,622 signatures on our petition for an initiative that's going to repeal 1639. Initiative petitions shall be filed with the Secretary of State not less than 4 months before the election at which they are to be voted upon, or not less than 10 days before any regular session of the legislature. The legislature's first regular session will begin January 4th. So that means that just a couple of days before Christmas, we have to have those 259,000 signatures so that we can put it before the legislature for that session. If filed at least 4 months before the election at which they are to be voted upon, he shall submit the same to the vote of the people at the said election. That means the Secretary of State must, if we meet the deadline, the Secretary of State must file if we meet that deadline before the election. That would mean 4 months before November of 2020. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want to wait that long. All right, but we have other options. If such petitions are filed not less than 10 days before any regular session of the legislature. Now, this is going to be how we overcome the waiting until the 2020 election. If such petitions are filed not less than 10 days before any regular session of the legislature, he shall certify the results within 40 days of the filing. If certification is not complete by the date that the legislature convenes, he shall provisionally certify the measure pending final certification of it. That means the Secretary of State, if we file it within that 10-day and he does not get it done before the legislature convenes, then he has to push it through. He has to push it through and present it. Such initiative measures, whether certified or provisionally certified, shall take precedence over all other measures in the legislature. All right, that means that this initiative, the one that I personally want to file, the one that I believe is going to help us get this overturned, will take priority over anything else the legislature is doing, with the exception of appropriation bills, and shall be either enacted or rejected without change or amendment by the legislature before the end of such regular session. That means that during that legislative session, they must go over this initiative. They must review it. They do what they do. And then once it's pushed through and it passes in the legislature, it has to be enacted before they end their session. We have rights. We have a voice, and we can push them. We, the people. The government is by the people, for the people. They need to start listening to us, not the other way around. Okay? So, sorry, I'm just scrolling down. If any such appropriation bills, and shall be either enacted or rejected without change or amendment by the legislature before the end of the regular session. If any such initiative measures shall be enacted by the legislature, it shall be subject to the referendum petition, or it may be enacted and referred by the legislature to the people for approval or rejection at the next regular election. If it is rejected, or if no action is taken upon it by the legislature before the end of such regular session, the Secretary of State shall submit it to the people for approval or rejection. The legislature may reject any measure so proposed by initiative petition and propose a different one dealing with the same subject, and in such event both measures shall be submitted by the Secretary of State to the people for approval or rejection at the next ensuing regular general election. When conflicting measures are submitted to the people, the ballot shall be so printed that a voter can express separately by making one X for each, two preferences, first as between either measure and neither, and secondly as between one and the other. If the majority of those voting on the first issue is for neither, both fail, but in that case the votes on the second issue shall nevertheless be carefully counted and made public. If a majority voting on the first issue is for neither, then the measure receiving the majority of the votes on the second issue shall be law. That means that the legislature, once we vote, and we'll get into voting in a little bit, maybe not in this broadcast, but once we vote and it passes, again, specifically the initiative to overturn 1639, once it passes, the legislature can't then go in and add all sorts of amendments to make themselves feel better. They can't go in and say, well, but we still want this provision, we still want this provision. It must be passed as it is written. As it is written, as the people voted on it. They cannot change things after it's passed. Okay, so basically that's our rights to petition. That's how we're going to do this. Now, plan of action. I have a plan of action. It may take a little bit. You know, no one gets results in these things right away, right? But my plan of action is I'm going to write an initiative. I'm going to draft it. I'm going to file it. And then I'm going to get some petitions going. And I would really love if members all over the state had these petitions and people were showing them to people to sign, and we had our rallies and our protests and our marches over the next couple of months. I'd love for all of that to be going on so we can get the 259,622 signatures. We can do this. We can. There are over, I don't know exactly how many, but I know there are well over 2 million people living in Washington State. 259,000 signatures is not very much. That's just slightly over the population of the Tri-City, Benton City, Findlay, and West Richland area. Sorry. So, you know, that's not very many people. If we spread these petitions out all over the state, take them to our rallies, take them to our marches, we can get those signatures before the next legislative session, and we can get it submitted. All right, we can do this, and we are going to. I am not giving up on this, because first, it's the right to bear arms. Oh, that is my cat. Sorry. First, it's the right to bear arms. What are they going to take next? Let's talk about the mental health issue. All right? If someone isn't competent enough to own a firearm, okay, what's next? The ability to vote? Are they going to take away our voting rights? Governor Jay Inslee, are you in the Washington State Legislature going to take away our voting rights for people who have depression and bipolar disorder? Are you going to do that next because we're not competent enough to vote? I wouldn't recommend that. All right. What about the right? Oh, they've already attacked our right to free speech, our right to freedom of religion. All of these things are being attacked right now. And everybody wants to fix it. But my point of what I'm doing with these live broadcasts is we're going to educate everybody so that they know what it is. Now, I'm going to repeat the article of the Washington State Constitution that I just addressed for those that are just joining. All right, it is Article 2, Section 1, subsection A through E. All right? So then, the next thing we're going to go into is the legislative sessions. We're going to look at Article 2 of the Washington State Constitution, Section 12, special sessions. Legislative sessions. I'm sorry, I can't read my notes. Legislative sessions. So, Article 2, Section 12. Got to scroll down to Section 12. Okay, regular legislative sessions. They shall be convened each year. Regular sessions shall convene on such day and at such time as the legislature shall determine by statute. During each odd-numbered year, the regular sessions shall not be more than 105 consecutive days. During each even-numbered year, the regular session shall not be more than 60 consecutive days. That means that the regular session that's about to convene in 2019 has to be 105 days. That's 105 days for people to go in and speak on behalf of turning over 1639. It's 105 days for our voices to be heard in front of the state legislatures, in front of our lawmakers. That's 105 days for constituents to go and speak in front of the Washington state government and tell them how we feel. I don't know. How many people do you think can testify up there in 105 days? Quite a few. Quite a few. I remember as a kid in school when I was learning about the government, I learned about filibusters. Filibusters. That's right. I don't want to tie this up. I want a quick resolution. I don't know how you guys feel, but I would like a quick resolution. But sometimes things like this need to be debated. I don't say argued over, debated, discussed, talked about, walked in circles, mealed over. All right? Not just something that you talk about for a couple of hours and then say, oh, no, it doesn't pass. Oh, we're going to talk about it for a couple of hours. Oh, no, we're not going to vote for that. They don't get to do that to us. William, you can't get the video to work? I'm honestly not sure. One of our members is having trouble getting the live video to work. Maybe, is anybody on the page right now that can help William out? I lost my place. Forgive me for a second. The regular sessions. Okay. Now, special legislative sessions. Special legislative sessions may be convened for a period of not more than 30 consecutive days by proclamation of the governor pursuant to Article 3, Section 7 of this Constitution. Special legislative sessions may also be convened for a period of not more than 30 consecutive days by resolution of the legislature upon the affirmative vote in each house of 2/3 of the members elected or appointed thereto, which vote may be taken and resolution executed either while the legislature is in session or during any interim between sessions in accordance with such procedures as the legislator may provide by law or resolution. The resolution convening the legislature shall specify a specific purpose or purposes for the convening of a special session, and any special session convened by the resolution shall consider only measures germane to the purpose or purposes expressed in the resolution. All right? So basically, that's a special session. It means, oh my gosh, something has to be done about this issue right now. We can't wait until we meet. It's a priority. It's important. And it must be resolved right now. That's a special session. So how do we get a special session? By rallying, petitioning, writing our representatives, writing the governor, getting the media involved, even though, a lot of the media is biased. It doesn't matter if they're biased against us. What matters is that the media gets it in the public eye. Right? Some of you might not agree with that. But for the purposes of furthering our cause, media attention is very important. That's a fast way to reach a lot of people. Some of them might actually look into the facts and fact check. Some of them might not. But if you think about it, what caused this gun law to even be drafted in the first place? The media attention on all the mass shootings across the country. And the gun control advocates with their protests and their picketing, right? So if people for gun control can picket and protest and get things done, we can get our initiative in there and pass too. We absolutely can. We have voices too. They don't speak for us. We speak for us. All right, so all right, so proclamation of the governor pursuant to Article 3, Section 7 of the Constitution of Washington State. So what we're going to do is we're going to go check out Article 3, Section 7 real quick. And this is just for you guys that may not know what these things say. I know that I didn't know what all these things said. Article 3, Section 7. That's not reading correctly. The text here says pursuant to Article 3, Section 7. Oh, that's why. it won't click over to Article 3. I'm going to ask my husband to give me a little bit of tech support. I need that click to Article 3, please.
Article 3?
Yeah. There it is. Thank you. I guess I wasn't clicking it right. Article 3, Section 7. Now remember, this is Governor Proclamation of a Special Session. Text of Section 7. It's very small. It's a very tiny little paragraph for Section 7. Extra legislative sessions. Pardon me. The governor may, on extraordinary occasions, convene the legislature by proclamation, in which shall be stated the purposes for which the legislature is convened. So, that's all it says. That's all it says right there. Is extraordinary occasions. So, how do we make repealing 1639 an extraordinary occasion? Refer back to the petitions, the protests, the rallies, the marches, all these little individual groups that are propping up right now. Eastern Washington Patriots, all these, the NRA, all these little petitions you see circulating around right now, those are well and good, but there actually has to be a paper petition filed. So all of those things make a lot of noise, draw a lot of attention, garner public support. All right? The rallies and the protests draw a lot of attention, garner public support. This group, I started this group with the idea of drawing attention, garnering public support. We have to make our governor listen to us. He has to listen to us. We need to be writing to his office. We need to be emailing him. We need to be tweeting him. Yes, I said tweeting. I tweeted him this morning. We need to be tweeting him. We need to be making a very, very, very loud noise, so to speak, the legal way. The way that the Washington State Constitution and the Constitution of the United States of America entitles us to via the Bill of Rights. We have the right to do those things. We are authorized to do those things because we don't work for the government. The government works for us. We employ them. We employ them. Our wages, our money that we earn when we go out and work, whether you work in the fields, whether you work in an office, whether you work driving a semi-truck, whether you work for the United States military. Thank you, by the way, for those that are servicemen, active and veteran. Thank you very much. It's because of you guys that we have these rights, that we have these abilities. It's because of you guys that we now have the opportunity to use our voice before they take away any more of our constitutional rights. So thank you. So this is the plan of action. I'm going to go over this one more time. The plan of action is to make some noise, make Governor Inslee stop ignoring us, stop pretending like he doesn't hear us, and make him listen to us. He has to listen. If there are enough protests, enough rallies, enough marches, if there are enough petition signatures going around this state, he must take action. He must. He has the ability to call an emergency session of the Washington State Legislature. And he will, but we got to get his attention. So write to him, write to your representatives, write to your local city councils, emails, tweeting. A lot of public officials are on Twitter. I was looking at that this morning. I tweeted Jay Inslee and I tweeted Donald Trump this morning. A lot of people don't support Trump. He is our current president. He's the commander-in-chief. Trump has the ability to sign executive orders. So whether you like him or you hate him, he's our president and he has that authority. So he could be an asset. No matter how you feel personally about him, he could be an asset to this cause. Could be. Could be. I'm not saying he is. He could be. All right. So those are the legislative sessions. The regularly scheduled and special session. Okay, so the legislative process. I'm going to talk a little bit about that because I have a little note here. We're going to go directly to the Washington State Legislature page. And I wrote a question here. Can we petition to request a special session of legislature? Now, this is where it gets kind of iffy and tricky because you got to be able to read. You got to be able to read you got to be able to read between the lines on this page a little bit. So we have coming to the legislature. First of all, the first thing at the very tippy top of the page, it says, for questions about the legislative process or to leave a brief message for a member of the legislature, please call the in-state Washington State Legislative Hotline. There's an 800 number there. You can call them directly. I don't know if any of you knew that. That phone number, and I'll repeat it a couple of times, that phone number is 1-800-562-6000. All right? And that is to leave a message for a member of the legislature or to ask questions about the legislative process. All right. So now we get to when the citizen legislature meets on the second Monday in January in the ornate Capitol building in Olympia. In odd-numbered years, the budget year, they meet for 105 days, and in even-numbered years for 60 days. All right, so that's where I got my my deadline for the petition signatures. The second Monday in January. It has to be done 10 days before that. So that would be depend on the date. The date is a little flexible there. That would depend on the date of the second Monday in January. But I'm going to look at my calendar so we have an actual date. My wonderful husband is getting the calendar for me. Thank you, honey.
Mm-hmm. Second Monday?
Yes.
It's the 14th.
All right. So here we have, I'm going to mark it with a big circle and hold it up in front of you guys. We have the deadline. The second Monday in January of 2019, which is when the legislature will convene for 105 days. It's January 14th. Oh, it's backwards. Lovely. It's January 14th, right? So that means 10 days prior to that. 10 days prior to that, we have to have our 259,622 signatures on our petition so that we can file it and get it in front of that legislature during that session. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is Friday, January 4th. It's got to be done by January 4th. Now, it does not specify business days If it has to be done 10 business days, it just says 10 days. So that's including the weekends. Weekends are going to be when we get our most signatures. The most signatures. Please forgive my my grammar tonight. It's horrible. All right. So now we have a due date. The legislative process. This is the last little bit of information that we have for right now. I'll have more information about more of the process and action plan here in a couple of minutes. Once I'm finished with this, we're going to go over action plan steps. We're going to step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. All right. These are my ideas for how to operate an action plan here. Anybody on this group has suggestions? Believe me, I'm more than open to them. I'm just a citizen. I don't have any special education. I don't have a degree. I'm a stay-at-home mom that does childcare. That's who I am. That's what I am. I'm nothing special. I'm just a citizen like you all, you know, that wants to do something about this, that wants the government that's supposed to be by the people and for the people to start working for the people. I want my gun rights back. I want my freedom of speech. I want my freedom of religion. I want my rights back. They've been slowly taking them away. I'm not okay with it. Right now, we're going to focus on our gun rights because that's a big issue. Now, so the legislative process. All right, down here, if you scrolling down the page, now remember, this is the Washington State Legislature page. It's their website. All right, and on this website we have a number of links. One is how a bill becomes law, how to read a bill, how to testify in committee. That's going to guide us through how to speak in front of the legislative committee, because there are going to be a lot of us that they're going to want to hear from. Overview of the legislative process. Where did it go?
Which one?
Nope. I'm having trouble with my clicker again. But on this page, you literally, I'm not going to waste a whole bunch of time trying to click. I had wanted to reference that, but my lack of technology operating ability seems to be hindering me just a little bit right now. So, plan of action. What do you guys think about a plan of action? What should it be? Please leave comments on this video. Please share this video because we need to get this out. I have a plan of action, but one person can't get very much done. That's why I created this group. I thank you all for being members of this group, and I really, really look forward. I am so excited. We hit 700 members tonight. In less than 7 days, we hit 700 members. That is awesome. Keep it up, guys. Share the page. Share the petitions you see on the page. Share the posts about what the text of the law actually says. And share these videos. You guys, if you have videos, or if you have information or knowledge, and you've done your fact checking, and like I'm doing, you can go through and reference the actual areas where it makes these statements. Please, please, please feel free to go live. Share that live video, share this video, share the whole page, add members to our group, you know, and feel free to please, please, please activate protests in your city. I'm located in the Tri-Cities in Benton County. All right. I can lead protests here. I won't be able to make it to every single city though to lead protests. You know. So if you guys, I'm reaching out to you guys, please, please, please feel free to take the head and start a protest in your own city. Post it on the page. Private message me. Let me know when it's going to be, and I will try to make it there. Create a group chat about the planning for the protest, for marches, for rallies. Just keep sharing, keep posting, keep sharing, keep posting. That's how we get heard, guys. So plan of action. Step 1, drafting an initiative. Step 2, filing said initiative. Step 3, receiving the initiative certification. Those 3 steps are pretty quick. Step 4 takes a while, right? Step 4 takes a while. If any of you are interested in getting in on drafting this initiative with me, I would sure appreciate the help. Maybe we can work together on maybe a team of people can each take one section of 1639 and draft a section amending it or overturning it or repealing it directly. All right? But once we get that all drafted and certified, the next step is the petitions and those 259,622 signatures. Okay? Spread out all across every county in Washington state. We've got members in almost every county. At least one member. Spread out across all those counties, we should be able to come up with 259,600 signatures. All right? And then we turn it back in. All right? And then the next step is the legislature convenes, and by that time our voices will have been heard, and there will be public attention, public support, large amounts of public support. Because like I said, our group is already made up of Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, people from all walks of life, all political views are in this group. This issue is not a party issue. This issue is not a conservative or liberal issue. This is a people issue. This is an issue about our rights. Whether you want to exercise them or not, okay, you can choose not to. But if you choose not to, you know, that's up to you. However, for those of us that choose to, we want our voices heard. If you choose not to exercise your right to bear arms, that is okay. That is perfectly okay. That is up to you. I personally, I do not own a gun right now. I had one, but I don't have one anymore. Okay? It's not necessarily a personal choice for me. I would prefer to have a firearm in my home. But I have a family to consider and think about. So, you know, these things is objective mostly. However, if you choose not to own a firearm, that doesn't mean that you have to agree with gun control advocates. Just because you choose not to own one does not make you a gun control advocate. It just means you're choosing not to exercise that right. You can support the Second Amendment and choose not to exercise it. That is possible. But for us, these are the action steps for right now. The petitions, the rallies, the protests. Write your governor. Write Jay Inslee. Jay Inslee, you and the legislature took away our gun rights. And we want them back. So you will be hearing via emails and tweets from all of us. All right? Whether you love him or hate him, write Donald Trump. Tweet him. He's always on Twitter. Use it. Whether you like the fact that he's on Twitter or not, use the fact that Donald Trump is on Twitter all the time to get us heard in the White House. We have the rights to do these things. Freedom of speech. Hey, Donald Trump, what you gonna do about Washington State's new strict gun laws? We now have some of the strictest gun laws in the nation. Whereas just before the election, we were an open carry state. I don't know how many of you knew that. We didn't have to have a permit for a firearm. We didn't have to have a registration. It was advised, but we didn't have to do it. We could openly carry a weapon in a holster on our hip anywhere we went, with the exception of government buildings. If we wanted to carry one to the grocery store, we could. If we wanted to carry one walking down the street, we could. And now, with this new law, you better have your gun registration on you if you're walking down the street with a firearm on your hip. Or you're going to go to jail. And then you'll lose your gun rights permanently. You'll be found guilty of a crime. I don't know about you, but I don't like those things. I don't like changes like that. It's not right and it's not fair. It's unconstitutional. It's against the Washington State Constitution. We talked about that on the last broadcast. It's against the United States Constitution. And it is against the basic structures and rights that our founding fathers fought in the revolution for. That revolution was because they were tired of a tyrannical government. The constant taxes, the constant laws, the constant government saying, no, you can't do this. No, you can't do that. No, you can't do this, but you're going to pay us this, and you're going to pay us this, and we're going to tax your groceries, and we're going to tax your tea, and we're going to tax this, and we're going to tax this, and we're going to tax this, and we're going to tax this. Yeah, okay, enough's enough. Olympia, enough is enough. We're tired of it. And now we're going to do something about it. I hope you guys got something out of this video. I got to get going. Drafting an initiative is a lot of work, and I have a lot of reading to do about how to word it and how, the basic lingo to make it effective and concise and very specific. There will be no vaguities in the initiative that I draft. It will not be vague. It will be extremely specific so that there's no ho-hum-haing about it. There won't be any, well, what does that actually mean? What does that actually mean? No, it means this. It means this. It means this. That's what my initiative is going to do. That's what it's going to say. Oh, we have a new member request. So I hope you guys got something out of this. In another couple of days, I'll be doing another live broadcast once I have a little bit more information and I've started writing. You guys, please feel free to private message me if you want to help me draft this initiative. All right, please, please, please do. Any citizen, that's something I hadn't gone over yet. Any Washington State resident and citizen of the United States and registered voter can draft an initiative and present and sponsor an initiative. All right? We can sponsor initiatives. I don't know how many of you knew that, but I'm going to sponsor this initiative, and I'd love for some help. All right, guys. Remember, share the page, hashtag Silent No More, Repeal 1639. Share this video, share the other videos, share the petition posts, and share the events that are posted to the page. You guys have a good night, and I'll see you next time.